Good afternoon. I am joining you from the instrument shop, which is in the basement of the parsonage, and I wanted to take a moment just to talk to you about what's going to be happening at church for the next 3 Sundays. You should have received a phone tree message telling you that because we are trying to help contain the spread of the coronavirus, that we're not going to be having church for the next 3 weeks. And so I'm going to invite you in that 11 o'clock hour on Sundays to join me in doing something that is intentionally life giving. For me, I fully intend on being down here tomorrow in the shop at the 11 o'clock hour because down here I am reminded of God. For instance, I see God's creative ability in a beautiful piece of wood like this that's got colors that seem to be just painted on there. And as I use this wood with my hands, I'm reminded of what God has given me the ability to do. Maybe for you it's something different. Maybe a simple long walk in the woods reminds you of creation and how God has created you. Maybe playing music is special and meaningful and reminds you what God has given you the ability to do. Or maybe even simply taking an extra hour to be still and calm in the midst of a crazy life is something that would be life-giving to you. Whatever it is, I invite you to be intentional in taking that time tomorrow and doing something which is life-giving. It's an interesting time, a time of disruption. And if we think about the history of not only the church, but also of God's people, disruption is throughout all of it. Perhaps we can think about the time in the wilderness. Perhaps we can think about the time of the Babylonian captivity, or the early persecution of the Christians, or even in the Moravian Church, the persecution of the Czech brethren. Amidst all of those times of disruption, the one thing that hasn't changed is God. The thing that does change is people's understanding of how they want to relate back to God. And if we have anything in our history as not only as Moravians and Christians and people of God, is the ability to figure out how to relate to God in the midst of disruption. I hope that you have a great rest of your afternoon, and tomorrow during the 11 o'clock hour, you will join me in being intentional